So is the housing market about to collapse, or is that just wishful thinking? You're about to find out. What's going on, my YouTube friends? This is Jerry Abbott, your #1 real estate resource here in beautiful Las Vegas. Hey guys, a couple of quick things before we dive into the video. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to learn the cold hard facts about the Las Vegas real estate market and real estate in general, then definitely subscribe to the channel down below. Number 2, make sure to give me a thumbs up like, guys. That would really help the channel out. And number 3, if you are thinking about relocating to beautiful Las Vegas, whether it's next month or next year, I've got your back. I'm a local real estate agent here. I've lived here for nearly 20 years. I know every inch of this city. When the time is right for you, just reach out to me anytime. Just call, text, or email me, and I'll be happy to help you find that perfect dream home. Let's dive into the video. Okay, so I don't want to waste too much time here. I want to dive straight into the upcoming segments to tell you why I think home prices are on the verge of collapse. So let's get into that information right now. All right, so the very first thing I want to talk to you guys about is the 800-pound gorilla in the room, which is interest rates. Now, the Fed just had their meeting. They did not raise rates this time. They paused, but the likelihood is they are now going to raise in July and in September. I want you to watch this short video segment from the CBS Evening News going over this information, and then I'm going to come back to it and comment on it afterwards. So let's take a look at that right now.
Out of the economy, the Federal Reserve today paused its recent interest rate hikes, leaving them unchanged after 10 straight increases in its bid to fight inflation. CBS's Weijia Jiang reports the Fed did signal that more hikes are likely in the months ahead.
The Federal Reserve's pause on interest rate hikes came with a warning from Chairman Jerome Powell. It may not last for long.
Inflation has not really moved down. It is not so far reacted much to our existing rate hikes, and so we're going to have to keep at it.
Inflation has come down from its peak of 9% to 4%, but the Fed wants to get it to 2%. While the cost of electricity, eggs and meat, and gasoline went down in May, overall grocery prices were nearly 6% more expensive over last year. The prices of margarine, flour, and bread all up. Over the course of 15 months and 10 straight interest rate hikes, the 30-year fixed mortgage rate has risen to nearly 7%. Credit card rates have soared to more than 20%. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
The question for anyone sitting at home is, will these interest rates come down fast enough so that I can borrow money when I want to at a more affordable rate? I think it's safe to assume that the cost of servicing a loan or getting a new loan is going to remain high for the foreseeable future.
All right, so the real takeaway from that video segment is very simple. Jerome Powell said it at the very beginning part of the video where they said that they paused interest rate hikes for right now, but they're likely going to raise again in July and in September because inflation is not under control. The reason why the Fed paused right now is because they don't want to cause a massive recession. So what they have to do is they have to kind of back off a little bit to try to calm things down so that there's not any more bank failures or any liquidity issues. And then they're going to raise again in July and September, which means inflation is not nearly under control, which means that spells much more trouble for the economy heading into the back half of this year. All right, so just to follow up on that last segment a little bit further, take a look at this article that just came out last week from Reuters. Take a look at the headline where it says Bank of America expects Fed to deliver 2 more rate hikes. JP Morgan adds July hike expectation. Now, if we scroll down a little bit deeper right here into the article, I highlighted this sentence in blue where it talks about Citigroup expecting a rate hike in September and Goldman Sachs expecting another rate hike in July. So these are some of the biggest banks in the world expecting a rate hike. Now, does that mean the entire economy is going to collapse or the stock market or the real estate market is going to collapse? Not likely, but it's going to spell trouble because more rate hikes means we could potentially be pushed deeper into a recession, which means there's going to be a lot more people having problems, especially in the housing market, being able to afford a mortgage, because this is going to put mortgage rates easily in the 8 to 9% range, and that spells trouble for a lot of people who are looking to try to buy a home. But on the silver lining side of it, that means home prices are likely going to come down by the end of this year and into 2024. All right, so just to follow up a little more specifically on how crazy inflation is, I just wanted to create this chart for you guys just to see that when we talk about how inflation is lower and people really don't feel it, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Take a look at this chart here. The blue is 2020 and the red is 2023. So this is a 3-year gap right during the whole peak of the pandemic time period that goes over this 3-year period of time. Now, these numbers are general numbers. They're not exactly precise, but they're pretty much in the ballpark. And I picked a few categories here. Take a look here in the bottom left. Gasoline back in 2020, $2 a gallon. Now it's $3.60. Obviously, that's higher in certain spots, so I'm just using an average number. Car prices back in 2020, the blue, $30,000. The red, 2023, $47,000. Then we take a look at the big thing right here, homes. Average price in 2020, $300,000. Now, $425,000. Right down here, a dozen eggs. Back in 2020, about $1.50 a dozen. Now they're about $3 a dozen. Again, certain areas they might be $4 to $5 still a dozen. And then on the right here, popular dog food. Average price, $28 back in 2020. Now about $40. So right here, this just goes to show you that the average price points of normal items, whether it's small items like eggs or very expensive items like homes, they have gone up on average pretty close to 50% in a lot of categories, and some categories are well over 100%. So it just goes to show you, even though inflation has come down, this right here really shows you that people are not feeling those effects yet. All right, so now let's drill down specifically into the real estate market. I want you to take a look at this article that just came out from bankrate.com. Take a look at the headline. It says housing market predictions for 2023. But more importantly, I want to scroll all the way down into the article here, and I want to show you what they're doing here. They're painting 3 different scenarios based off of interest rates. So I'm just going to summarize these 3 right here. Scenario number 1 is the Fed keeps raising rates and we get to about an 8.5% interest rate. Scenario number 2 is we stabilize right now at about 7 to 7.5%. And the third scenario is that the Fed finally curbs inflation but puts us into a recession, and then rates drop down to about 5%. There is no doubt in my mind that we are scenario number 1. The Fed is going to keep raising rates. We are going to get to 8.5% or possibly higher by the time we get to the end of this year. And again, that spells trouble for the economy and specifically for large purchases like cars and homes, because there's going to be less people that qualify, which means ultimately, again, the silver lining is home prices are going to come down. But again, it's going to probably be a slow grind down on home prices that's going to take at least through the end of this year and well into 2024 before we finally feel some good effects and better prices for homes overall. Now let's drill down specifically into my neck of the woods here in Las Vegas. I want you guys to take a look at this chart because this is a 45-year history of the real estate price index chart in Las Vegas, and this is a good indicator to determine whether or not home prices in Las Vegas and potentially nationally are going to collapse at some point. So let's take a look here on the far left side of this chart. Even though it's a little jagged, from about 1978 to about 2000, it's been pretty flat, as you can see. Right around 2000, it starts to gradually make its move up, and then it really hits a peak level in 2006. Then from 2006 to about 2012, that gets to the bottom. So this took about 6 years to go up and about 6 years to come down. So around 2012, again, we start to make the move back up, and now it's taken about 10 years to get to the peak levels of last year's prices. So that was about May of 2022. But now you can see right there, it's starting to come down. So again, this was a 6-year incline up. This was a 6-year decline coming down. Now this took longer to get up, but you can see how it really spiked up. This was the peak level right here during the pandemic, and now it's starting to come down. This is a very good indicator to determine. Now, even though I don't think we're going to come back and repeat what 2008 was like, because this was such a severe move, we've got a lot more room, in my opinion, to see that kind of a decline, because we saw it happen here and it took a while for it to come down. It took 6 years to come down. Right here, this is only about 1 year. So this is a very good indicator to determine whether or not home prices, especially in Las Vegas, are going to collapse. And I don't know whether or not we're going to see this kind of a collapse like we had in the 2008 crash, but right here, all signs indicate to me that the handwriting is on the wall for a large price decline as we go through the next couple of years here in Las Vegas, and that could potentially go through the entire United States as well. So after seeing all of those data points, it leads me to one main conclusion. The housing market is still way overpriced. Interest rates are at peak levels. Home prices are again at peak levels. We're right now coming into the summer buying season. I would advise anyone right now, if they're thinking about buying a home, to sit on the sidelines. Wait till we get towards the very back end of this year, when the cyclical pattern of home prices typically go down at the end of the year and into early 2024. So before we end today's video, I just want to give a shout out to my favorite comment from last week's video, and that goes to Project Reindeer Games. You can see their comment here on screen, and I'm just going to summarize it real quick. They think that this is going to be a repeat of the 2008 real estate crash, that banks are in trouble, and that there could be another massive liquidity issue that could really send the market tumbling. Now, I don't share that same exact sentiment, but I definitely think there's more downside to come in this real estate market than upside. And just remember, guys, if you're new to the channel, make sure to leave me a cool or creative comment down below. And of course, like the video as well. And my favorite comment from this week's video, I'm going to give a direct shout out to in next week's video. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I also hope you appreciate my transparency. Like I've said before, I'm always going to keep it 100% real on this channel regarding the overall real estate market with specific emphasis here in Las Vegas. Like I said earlier in the video, guys, definitely sit on the sidelines right now. We're in the popular summer buying season. Interest rates are high. Home prices are very high. Definitely wait it out till you get to maybe the holiday time period or beginning of 2024. That's the cyclical nature of when home prices are typically lower. That's likely going to be a better buying opportunity for you guys. And with that said, if you are thinking about relocating to beautiful Las Vegas, whether it's in a few months, like at the end of this year or into early 2024, definitely reach out to me. I'm a local real estate agent here. I know every inch of this city. When the time is right for you, just call, text, or email me anytime, and I'll help you find that perfect dream home. I'll see you in the next video.